All right, now topic for today is give up the past, engage in the present, and hope for the future. You got that?
Mm-hmm.
What I just said.
Give up the past.
Give up the past, engage in the present, and hope for the future. How many of you are doing that? How many of you have that as a lifestyle? You know, in Parkinson's disease, we have to develop a brand new lifestyle. It's all about lifestyle changes and lifestyle adjustments and attitude adjustments. Right?
Right.
Because you're the same terrific person, you have the same terrific marriage, the same terrific family. All you have to do is make a few tweaks, make a few changes in your behavior and your lifestyle and in your thinking that helps you to live well with this disease. How many of you can say to me, Marilyn, I'm living well with Parkinson's disease? Hands up, hands up, hands up. Of course you are. Lena, what about you? No?
I can't accept it.
Alina can't accept it. No? Well, we can talk about that. We can talk about it. I will share with you that for those of you that are at Parkinson Power for the first time, it's a program that I've been doing for 20 years. Right? It's a program that stems from my relationships with hundreds of patients and caregivers just like you. It's an original program with my original thinking and my original knowledge that comes from my life with the Parkinson community. Nothing that you hear from me comes out of a book or a how-to or a success strategy or anything like this. I teach very practical ways of thinking correctly and living life to the fullest with just the right attitude. Lena is very open and very forthcoming, which is what I expect you to do when you come in here. This is no time to pretend or to mask what you're really thinking. We're here today to talk about you, to talk about your life, and to help you to overcome the challenges that you face every single day. When you meet, you can greet yourself in the mirror, you're facing the exact same thing. Lena's telling me, and she always sits right under my nose, so she can say no to me. And I'm glad that you do that, because Lena says, I cannot accept it. What can you not accept?
Well, it's changed my whole life.
It has changed her whole life. Anybody here whose life has not been changed by Parkinson's disease? If you have had no change since the day of diagnosis, raise your hand. You have to accept what you have lost. Am I asking you to do a really difficult thing? You know, because we all want, the human spirit, we want what we want. We want it now, and we want it right. And we want everything that we expected from life. How many of you expected to be where you are today? How many had this in your plan for your beautiful senior golden years? No. But guess what? You're stuck with something that you didn't want. It's why the frustration kicks in with Parkinson's disease. Unfortunately, we have no cure, so we treat your symptoms, we treat you with everything we have. But there needs to be a way for you to open up your heart and your mind and accept, this is who I am today. Because if you constantly fight the changes that are happening, the losses that you are experiencing, you will never roll into the positive note that I want you to be in, to stand up to the disease and to have a passion and enthusiasm for life. So we're going to work on that, Lena. And I know that you've lost a lot. The other thing too is you have to always remember that with any challenge that you face, particularly with a neurological disability, you bring your, what we call pre-morbid personality into it. You know the person that you were when you were 20, 30, 40, you know the person that you were, the personality that you were your entire life. You were always outgoing, you were always positive, you were always optimistic, you were always a rah-rah. Or maybe you were always very private, very controlled, very analytical. That personality is going to keep coming through with you. Some people hate change, some people have to be in control. But for you to manage Parkinson's disease, you have to look in the mirror and say, this is who I am today. I am the same wonderful person. I have Parkinson's disease. It's just Parkinson's disease. I'm not minimizing it. It's the challenge of a lifetime. It affects every component that you've got. Physical, mental, emotional, and social. You all know that. But you have to somehow humble yourself to say, it's okay. This is who I am today. It's okay to give up some of the things that I have lost. All right? Gratitude is the ability to say, what I have now is enough. Did you hear me? I actually got a great email from somebody over Thanksgiving, and I was going to read it to you on Thanksgiving, but maybe if I can find it, I'll read it to you today. What you are is enough. You don't have to live up to anybody else's expectations. You don't have to walk like me, talk like me, dance like Tony.
That's pretty great.
You just have to be the best person that you can be. And that starts by being accepting of yourself and of your life, by being tolerant of what you can and cannot do. I don't want to remind you of this, but we are sensational seniors. Okay, but the ability to say, okay, I accept who I am today, I'm terrific, I'm the same great person that I was before, I just have Parkinson's disease. I tolerate who I am today. Don't blame everything on the Parkinson's disease. You think you're a little slower? You think you're a little stiffer?
Yeah.
All right? Don't blame everything on Parkinson's. It has to do with the wonderful aging process. Slight memory loss, slight confusion, slight distraction. Some of it is just part of maturing.
Yes.
All right? Pete?
Well, if you try and tackle this problem by yourself, it's really difficult to get your arms around it. But that's what's so great about Parkinson's place. You come here and you're with a bunch of people that share the same type of feelings you're going through and experiencing the same things that you're going through at the time. And it's a lot more comforting for you to realize you're not the only one out there.
Okay. I learned a long time ago in my personal life, in my professional life, no one can be successful alone. If you think you can, you're foolish. You have to reach out to people in your life, to resources in your life, everything out there that can help you and support you and keep you strong and standing, and vice versa. A big important thing for you, if you're to maintain your esteem and dignity as a senior with Parkinson's disease, is the ability to reach back out and to help everyone in your life. It amazes me. I get emails every single day. I come in here every single day to people that are starting to realize about Parkinson Place from really all over America, and are starting to do more visitation to this area so that they can benefit from us during the winter months. And I just heard from a great family, I think in Tennessee, and they're coming down and all excited, and he said, I need resources, and I get very proud when I have the ability to say, we have just about everything you need at Parkinson Place under one roof to help you during this time. We can meet all of your needs to include the big program with Toya. So you're right, you have to reach out. You don't have to stand up alone. You don't have to be strong alone. You have to rely on the people in your life that really truthfully love you and care about you. And a lot of that is your friendships in here, right? I just love to see the way you're helping each other all the time. So that's good. So I understand when I say you give up the past. You know, any of you ever think back, you know, in your 20s and your 30s and your 40s and your 50s? I can keep right on going because I got the big one coming next spring. Alright?
Is that 40?
Yeah, 40 plus plus plus. That's going to be a big one. So you have to reach out, you have to be grateful, you have to be enthusiastic. You can have to have the ability to say, you know what, I am enough. You're wasting your time. It's an exercise in futility. You're not going to think your Parkinson body into doing what it doesn't want to do. Have you noticed that?
I noticed it.
I woke Carol up with that one, didn't I? You know, this is the problem with the freezing and the stiffness, the rigidity, the falls. Your mind is saying, please work. Please do it a little faster. Please let me button my buttons, you know. Please let me walk easily, right? And unfortunately, you thinking it isn't going to make it happen. This is a disease that affects every muscle in your body. It's progressive. So what, on the encouraging side, what I will say to you is, you know, if you can say to me, Mark, I'm the same as I was yesterday, I'm the same as I was last week, guess what? You're doing well and you're gaining on it. Do you understand? So don't think, well, if I do all 5 exercise classes and I do big and I do voice, that you're going to get 10%, 20% better. You're not. I want you to maintain. I want you to stabilize. I want you to be in the care of absolutely the best physician that we can get to you. We're working on that, all right? Your neurologist is your primary physician. Your need to be managed by someone trained in this disease is critical because you're high maintenance. Have you noticed that?
Right.
When you need your doc, you need your doc. And because the disease is progressing, all right, many times you need a tweak in your medications. Are you all drug compliant? What do I mean by that?
Take your pills.
Take your pills on time correctly. On time correctly. The drugs that your doctor takes time to titrate and get perfect for you needs to be taken correctly in your little box on time. 5-minute window with me. Did you hear me? 5 minutes. If you're supposed to dose breakfast, lunch, and dinner, all right, 8, 12, 4, or whatever, 5 minutes before, 5 minutes after. Why? What's going on when you're ingesting your Parkinson medicine?
You need to keep a blood level.
Yeah, you need to keep the titration level in the body, and it only has a certain shelf life. So if you take it and say, oh, whoops, I forgot. I was in Macy's and I didn't bring it with me. Then what happens? Then you're using up your reserve, your lower level in the blood, you dose again. Instead of keeping you here, you're working to get back up here again. So if you need bells and whistles on your medicine boxes, if you need every reminder known to man, I want you to do it. If you need the support of your caregiver, don't get upset when he or she says it's time for your medicine. Don't forget to take your pills. Don't consider this a, she's driving me nuts again. You understand me? Consider this a friendly reminder so that you will take your medicines on time. So whatever tip you have, for you to be the best you can today, you've got to absolutely manage your medications. All right, what are some of the things you've lost? Give up the past.
Driving.
Driving, bingo, big one. I don't know how safe you are on the road these days anyway, you know? Isn't it terrible? This town is terrible.
It's crazy.
And what you don't see getting out of the vehicle driving at the handicap spot, the texting with the young people, please don't do that, dear heaven, please don't do that. And encourage your children and grandchildren, please don't do it. There is nothing that important that you can't wait until you get where you're going. You're expecting a call, get off the road. Do not do it. Period, do not do it. And for so many seniors, we shouldn't be driving anymore. What do you need to drive? You need reflexes, you need good vision, you need good hearing, you need good depth perception. All of this is altered with the aging process, and it's even escalated with the Parkinson's disease. So if you should be behind the road, hand the keys off. We'll find you alternative transportation, right, Carol? Carol and Stan are here every day, on time, right? Valet service right here.
Right.
So, and don't let it hurt you, the fact that you're not able to drive anymore. You know, that's part of who we are. You get the keys when you're 14, 15, 16. You have that independence and off you go. But if you're not able to be on the road safely for yourself and for others, then stop it. Just simply stop it and be grown up about it and hand off the keys. Do not put your loved one in the situation that she has to either argue with you or come to me and say, get the keys off of me. Okay, do it graciously. All right, you've lost the ability to drive. What else?
Sports, activities.
Many of the activities that you really love to do. You really love to do. You were good at it. It gave you joy. It passed your hours, you know, in a pleasurable way. Right? Like what?
Golf.
Golf is a big one. Got a lot of golfers in Parkinson Place.
Bowling.
Bowling, I could never get that ball down. I looked like I needed rehabilitation. There is not a coordinated bone in my body. Did you know that, my new friends? The only thing I can do coordinated is dance, because I'm Philadelphia, and in Philly, you dance. But I can't do anything else. I'm terrible. Bowling is a big one, right? My dad was a great bowler. What else?
Archery.
Archery. Bow and arrow. Bullseye. Wow, that's a
Or
first.
not.
Or not. Stand back.
Painting.
Painting. Beautiful. Was he a
He
painter?
was a painter and also a fly fisherman.
A fly fisherman and a painter. Well, he should be able to fly fish right out here on. He can't do it anymore if we don't get him too deep.
The answer is no.
I do
Okay.
digital art.
Yeah, Jean signed to him that Joyce is an artist, and you all know, my new people, all of the beautiful paintings that hang in Parkinson Place were a gift from Joyce Novak, who is noted worldwide for her work. And I think last count we were almost 70 original pieces of art that hang here and will hang here for as long as I am director. Okay, because I just love it. It just brought this place to light when we hung it, right, Dust? We had some, and we hung more. I just love it here.
Thank you.
But Joyce paints digitally now. She's had Parkinson's for many years, and she changed her media along the way, and has found a new way, you know, to get her artwork on a canvas. So sometimes you have to make a modification, and this is a gracious way to look at life. I can't do this anymore, but I can do this, right? If you can't do it, you can't do it. It's not your fault. It's the fault that the disease won't allow you to do it. So if you can't do what you did for 100 years, then find something different that you can do. Like what? What are you doing alternative?
Needlework.
Needlework? Wonderful.
That's great.
Nag your caregiver.
Huh? Nag your caregiver. That is not a pastime. You with the Snoopy shirt. That is not a pastime. Don't get me going on that one. It's an occupation. You got a partner in crime over here. He's new. I'm going to keep you at a separate ends of the table, right? Your pastime is not to nag your caregiver. Your pastime is to help and support and to promote the happiness, the wellness of your caregiver. You got me? This is my favorite topic. And those new people, our caregiver class is every Wednesday from 10 to 11, opposite voice aerobics, because the voice aerobics is the only class the caregivers really do not benefit from. unless you want to learn to yell a little louder. All right? It's a very good class for it. Your partners is an etiquette and caregiving. All right? And many times, Parkinson patients feel that a little less than their best because they're not able to contribute to the activities in the home or the responsibilities that they had for so many years. That's okay. If you can't do it, you can't do it. That's all right. It's not your fault. It's not that you don't want to help or want to do it. You just physically, functionally can't do it anymore.
There's plenty of alternatives.
There's plenty of alternatives, but where I'm going with it is that what you can still always do till you take your final breath is to promote and encourage and to appreciate your caregiver. And I want to hear it with the words coming out of your mouth. How many of you are doing that?
He does. When he thinks about it.
Bad days of an egg. Good days, love you.
Ah.
I'm honest. Everybody
That you
knows
are, Richard. Yeah, they need to say thank you, or I appreciate you, or I love you, or you know, I couldn't do it without you. I mean, words don't cost a penny, and they don't take one bit of energy. You can sit wherever you are and say I love you or thank you, right?
Right.
Make new friends.
Make new friends.
Or call the old ones that you enjoyed.
She should be on a Christmas. Make new friends or call the old ones.
You can always do something.
Carol has a
Give
wonderful.
them a chance.
Yeah, right. Lots of times, when you do go through a problem or a hardship or a challenge, sometimes you tend to isolate. And don't do that. A lot of times, folks in your life, they don't understand Parkinson's. They don't understand what's going on with you. They don't want to take the step forward toward you, right? So you want to invite them to stay engaged in your life. Right? I had an aunt that always said, Marilyn, the phone rings at both ends.
I found many
Right?
friends here already.
You found many
I'm just
friends
starting.
here.
I
And
feel
you
like
just
I'm just starting, but actually it's been many years.
Yeah. It's never too late to make a new friend and to reach out to people and enjoy people, absolutely. The sociability factor, many times with Parkinson's disease, minimizes a little bit. Have you noticed that? A lot of it has to do with you're not able to do some of the activities with the same group of people that you had always done them with. So lots of times you have to find a new network of friends that like to do and can do what you enjoy. I always like to see when I see the members, going out for lunch together or getting together for a birthday party or something like that. I love that. I think that is terrific. So reach out and make friendships while you are here.
The sociability here is huge.
Yeah, I think so.
Yes.
I think so. That was the last thing that I plugged in here was the bistro, I guess, and it has really, I never thought about the social aspect when I put the program together here. And it's just nice to be able to come in and just relax, and I don't know how many donuts we've been through in 3 years. I should run a tab for donuts, right?
Yeah.
But that's important that you can come. Just come, relax, sit down, have cake and coffee, and have friendship. Lots of you now are having lunch. Don't forget, if we have programs morning and afternoon, if you don't want to go home or to go to a restaurant, you can cater or bring your lunch or whatever and just sit on over here and have that time from 11 to 12:30 or whatever and just be here, or to take a little walk, okay? All right. What else have you given up?
Writing,
Writing,
computer work,
computer work. You having trouble with the keyboard?
drama.
With the tremor. The tremor is the most disabling, right? Because you can't do the dexterity, the tedious thing. The tremor can really get in the way of fine motor skills, and that comes from the loss of dopamine. What happens with Parkinson is you lose the dopamine. The Lewy bodies are moving forward, and you're losing your supplement of dopamine. Dopamine does one thing. It allows you to have smooth, controlled movement like that, right? That's what your dopamine is doing. When you lose the level of dopamine, always remember that upon diagnosis you have lost 80% of your dopamine cells and they don't come back. That's why we supplement you with Cinemeds, right? But the tremor keeps you from doing fine skills like your buttons, your shoes, your computer work. It has the greatest impact on function. The most dangerous symptom you've got is what? Two of them. Falling from the what? Balance. You're going to lose your balance because you're losing some of your muscle tone. It's why I want to see you in those exercise classes. I mean it. You need to be in those exercise classes to keep your long muscles strong and your balance up there because you don't want to be falling. But the freezing, when you freeze, you're at the highest risk of fall, right? When you all of a sudden tighten up and get rigid, some folks go through Parkinson's, never have rigidity, never have the freezing. But when you freeze, you're at the highest risk of falls because you can't get yourself out of it. All right? So you freeze, you're losing your balance, and for somebody else, we have the ability to counteract and to stop or to grab or something in a quick thing or a step forward or sidestep or whatever, right? You lose that. So the freezing is a very serious side effect that you want to be very careful of. And the most dangerous symptom that you're living with Parkinson is what? Swallowing. You are swallowing. Swallowing is the most dangerous symptom of Parkinson's disease. Why? You should know the answer to this.
Aspiration pneumonia.
Aspiration pneumonia, right? And please understand that, you know, when you swallow with Parkinson's, you don't need to cough, you don't need to choke to be having it going down the wrong pipe. You know, the two pipes, not a pipe, but it splits. You know, it used to be you coughed, oh, went down the wrong pipe, right? But you can have this going, this liquid going in your mouth, going open into your lungs, which is a sterile cavity, and you're not coughing. So if you note at any time along the way that it's feeling a little different, all right, or the minute you feel congested or funny down here, you need to open your mouth and tell somebody, and you need to have a speech eval. It's why I'm so pleased to have Mary Spinelli here with us every Wednesday, because she'll keep an eye on you, right?
Right.
Every Wednesday, 10 to 11, Mary Spinelli. She's a speech-language pathologist. You can see her privately. She's a Medicare provider, okay? You can see her right here. And she is your safety net for speech and swallowing problems.
And her little dog, too.
And Frankie.
Right.
Frankie comes, right?
Yes.
All right.
Marilyn, does anyone know of any way to prevent freezing?
No, I don't know. You know, it's like you can't prevent any of the symptoms, and it's amazing how all of a sudden they just happen. And it's a shame because, you know, when you wake up in the morning and you're really motivated, you have great plans for the days, and then all of a sudden you all know that you have good days and bad days with this disease. You have days when your meds work better than other days. Right? The frustration, the dilemma with the disease is you can't control when the symptoms are going to kick in or how long they're going to last.
Right.
And that makes it so hard for you. Yeah.
Has anybody ever made a study about how rapid changes in weather affect the presence
No,
of the symptoms?
weather affects a lot of things, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But I don't know, I always thought it was maybe barometric pressure,
That really is.
you know? And it's a strange thing, isn't it? I know, what are some of the things that are really influenced by weather? Arthritis, migraine, allergies, am I right?
Driving.
Huh?
Yeah.
Driving
By the seasons?
by the weather.
By the weather. Well, you're from
Yes.
Snow City. I grew up in Philly, and then I lived in New Haven for a while when I was at Yale, and I can remember that dirty snow schlepping up 95, and I was like, oh, I hate it. And then I'd lock myself in the car looking like a snow bunny, and I'd have to count to 35 to get myself to get out of the car, and it was snowdrift to get into Yale. That's cold country. But we don't have that in Florida. So weather is not an answer for that.
You're allowed to start complaining after it goes lower than 70 as far as.
Well, I got so tickled with Tony. Under it goes 70, that she's complaining about the coldness now. And Tony was around. Y'all know Tony. Tony runs the front for us. She came in here today at 8:30, and she had on a sweater and another sweater and leggings and boots. And I'm looking at her. I said, Tony, are you going skiing? Where's your hat? Where's your glove? But she feels the cold.
Yeah.
Right? And I think if you're here for a while, you feel it worse. I feel it worse.
Your blood gets thin or something.
Is that, what does that mean? Your blood gets thinner? That's another saying that makes absolutely no sense to me. But going back, let's ask Dr. Juan, and we don't have Ask the Doctor this month, but I'm going to ask Juan, he's in for clinic tomorrow, that if the weather has any impact on symptoms, I mean, other than maybe stiff joints or something like that. I'll have to try to find data on that.
I've noticed that if there's a real fast change, like last week we were 80 and then the next day we're down in the 40s, the tremors and everything gets worse.
Really?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And you all agree with that? Did you hear what Barb said? If it goes a drastic change, real fast, not a graduated one, but if you're at 80, if you're at what, 81 day, and then we have a cold front coming in, like we get once in a while, we'll drop into the 40s. Then, am I hearing how many of you have noted enhanced symptoms? One? That's very interesting.
It doesn't even have to be that rapid of a drop. If you get cold, you start
Just
shaking.
getting cold.
Just getting cold.
Yeah, that's hard.
Well, let's see if, and those of you that do research, online or anything like that, see if you can find anything for us. I don't know. I can't answer that question. I never thought of it.
I've read it too.
Have you read it, honey? Well, make that little mini assignment over holiday if you have 5 minutes and nothing to do. Come to my house. But let's see what we could find out, and maybe Dr. Ramos might know something of
I
that.
just wondered, if it was an idiosyncratic thing with
I
him,
don't
or
know.
if it happens
No,
to
it
other
really
people, and I
happens.
see it does.
It would make sense that as you're getting older, you're gonna be a little achy, a little sore, just because you're getting older.
Even without
Now you add this other factor in,
Yeah.
called Parkinson's, environment and so forth, and you marry them together.
Yeah.
Isn't it gonna get worse?
I don't know. I can't answer it. I haven't seen the data on it. So y'all bring me the data.
My worst problem is insomnia, and if I can't sleep, sometimes I get really cold at night, and I go to bed with a little hat,
Oh.
my gloves,
Oh my goodness.
socks on my feet.
Is Bob looking at this?
Yeah.
She goes, it's the truth, because if you're cold in the night, and always remember, when you go to bed at night, insomnia is huge. Sleep disorders is huge with Parkinson's disease, and then the night can be so long, right?
That's my worst problem.
And so tiring, right? So you want the room dark, you want it the right temperature. But if you're cold, just like a little baby, if their little feet are cold, they need to have those little booties or a little extra blanket, and all of a sudden they curl up and go to sleep. Remember that when you go to sleep, your metabolism slows down. If you're running around the block, you're sweating, right? If you're sitting in a cold theater, you're cold. So please remember when you do go to bed to be sure that you're warm enough. The other thing too is, the last cold front, I put a new blanket on my bed, and I was so hot, I didn't even know what to do with myself. I had to get out and change blankets in the middle of the night. So you want to be comfortable when you sleep. How many of you do have sleep disorders?
Oh.
Okay, we're going to address that at the February conference. Somebody's going to talk on that.
It would pay to get either one of those electric, the blanket, or even the mattress pads. that we
Okay.
have now. But for God's sake, get dual control ones.
Dual control. Those of you that are cohabitating in the bed, and that's a very good thing that you sleep together for as long as you can. I'm an advocate of married people being close and sleeping together unless you can't sleep or whatever, you know, then you need to go somewhere where you can get a good night's sleep. Dual control, okay? With side by side. Okay, layer, you can layer.
Great.
Okay.
We have the back that all lift up too.
You get what?
Get the back to lift up.
I get the back to lift up.
That
Okay.
helps you get out of bed easier.
Okay. All right. All right. So, how do you stay engaged? What's the secret? Okay, so we're giving up the past. Everything that we were great, but we always take this attitude, I'm so much better today than I was then. You really believe that? What's so great about growing old?
Well,
What is so great about growing old? Now come on, play the gracious note here.
we made it that far.
Wisdom is the #1 thing. Wisdom. And the only way that you gain wisdom and knowledge and intelligence, at least through my eyes, is living that day and living that experience and getting through it and facing challenges and learning. This is wisdom. Doesn't it amaze you, you know, that you want to say to your children and your grandchildren, and for many of you lucky enough to have lived long enough to be a great grandparent, which I'm hoping to live long enough for that, don't you just wish the kids would listen? Why don't you listen?
They know everything.
They know everything because it's their right to have this day, a learning lesson. And I used to say to my kids, I did it that way. It doesn't work. Let me make your life a little easier for you, Mikey.
But that doesn't work.
Mother. Okay, I said, go ahead. And then around you go again. I told you the greatest compliment I ever gave my mother. You ready for this one? Because I always had to do it my way. I was always right. I was always strong. I would not listen. It was my personality. It's my A personality. And then when I turned 50, I kind of looked back on my life, and my mother was always throwing advice. I never took it. But she was always throwing advice, like most mothers do. And I called my mother on my 50th birthday. And I've always lived 1,000 miles away from my mother and father. And I'd say, I have something to say, Mother.
Okay.
And I said, everything that you told me was right. I should have listened. And she said, Marilyn, is this really you talking to me? But see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's nothing clearer than hindsight, but you have to live this day. You have to live this day with Parkinson's, my patients and my caregivers. You have to find your own way. You know, today is very valuable. It matters because today is an accumulation of our yesterdays. Have you noticed that?
Right.
What you used yesterday, what you learned yesterday, what you overcame yesterday is what gives you the strength and the esteem and the confidence and the wisdom to do today. So it's why every day really matters.
That's it.
You have to make your days. Doesn't that make sense?
It makes a tremendous amount of sense.
It makes sense. Today matters because it's the foundation for tomorrow. So make the right choices. Make all the right choices that you need to make to live well with Parkinson's. And how are you going to live well with Parkinson's? You're going to live right in this moment. A big thing that so many seniors do, so many people at large do it. What if perhaps maybe? You're worried about what's coming tomorrow, what's happening next week, where are we going to be this time next year when the trains go up? How many of you think about that? Huh? I don't really consciously think about it. Isn't it great that we don't know the future?
Yeah.
Can you think about your life if we really had validation of what was coming tomorrow? And allows us to hope that tomorrow is going to be terrific, right? All right. So stay engaged in the moment. Stay engaged in the day. Get all of the joy and the enthusiasm that you can get for the joy, all the pleasure from the day. Focus on what can I do to be my best? What can I do to help the people in my life that love me? Please remember, my Parkinson patients, you matter. You matter. You are precious and priceless to the people in your life that love you. All right? your children, your grandchildren, your friends. So stay focused on that and stay focused on the moment. You only have to deal with what's the reality of the day. That's it. Don't take on more than what you need to take on because your burden's heavy enough, isn't it? What you have to do to get through the day, my Parkinson patients, is very, very difficult. You don't need to lay yourself on with more stuff that might even never happen. That's minutia. And the same thing for you caregivers. Don't anticipate tomorrow. So what's your key for living well today with Parkinson's? You live in the moment. What else?
Good attitude.
Good attitude. Thanks, Phil. Your positive attitude. Remember, you can choose your thinking. You can set your disposition every day when you wake up in the morning. You know, you can wake up with the blahs or with what Dr. Domingo, stinking thinking. Isn't that something? He had a couple one-liners in there. Stinking thinking, where you're negative and overcome and you don't have the confidence and the enthusiasm.
Don't depend on your expectations for other people.
What is that?
Don't depend on expectations that you've had for other people.
That's exactly right. Don't depend on expectations you have for other people. The only thing that you can really rely on and depend on is yourself. Am I right?
Right.
That's why it's so important that you set your goals, that you set your standards, that you set your thinking, because you control that. You cannot control what this disease is doing to you. You cannot control the symptoms, the signs, the progression. You cannot control how you respond to the meds. You cannot control how many times you fall, even though you try everything to prevent it. But the only thing that you can control is how you respond to it. I will do my best. I will be my best. I will hold on. I will be positive. And I will move forward. All right? Look up and move forward.
Accept your situation and go on.
Except, there we're right back again. Pete said, Lena, did you hear what Pete just said? Accept your situation and go on. She heard you. That's what she's going to say. She heard you. All right? Be tolerant of who you are. You know, I don't know how to tell you this, but, you know, we're not young chickens anymore. Right? I don't know about you, but what I was doing 25 years ago, I surely am not doing now. All right, so be tolerant of who you are today, because you're terrific. You're a sensational senior. And hope for the future. That's a beautiful word, the word hope, I think. I love that word, hope. I think it means something to everyone differently. What does it mean for you? What does the word hope mean to you? Cookies kicked in.
Reason for living.
A reason for living? Yeah. You hope, it's your expectation that something good is coming, something wonderful, something positive. You don't hope for bad stuff, do you? You hope for goodness and for peace and all the things that will make your life better. And it's all coming your way, so don't even think it's not. All right? What are your goals for 2015? Do you all have little mini goals? Goals. You know, you're not going anywhere. You're not going to grow. You're not going to grow. If you don't have goals that you set standards in your mind, and you have 1 or 2, 3 goals, and you work toward those goals every single day, what is success? Consistent, persistent, deliberate action. So if you say to me, Marilyn, one of my goals is I'm going to exercise 3 days a week at Parkinson Place, then you will show up every Monday. When do I have exercise? I have exercise every day, don't I?
Yes, you do.
So you say, okay, that's great. You got no excuses. Deliberate, persistent, deliberate action is your success. You succeed at your goal because you do it, because you choose to do it, and you have no excuse not to do it, because whose life is it? Am I going to suffer if you sit in the recliner?
Yeah.
It's not going to affect me.
No.
It's going to affect you. I got mother up and moving. Some of you I shared with, my mother just came through pneumonia, and she was stuck in her apartment for 2 weeks.
Oh.
And she because she wasn't forthcoming. My mother has 2 dedicated, loving daughters, me being one of them. But if you don't tell me that something's going on, this is why it's so important for you. If you got something going on, open your mouth and tell somebody. Tell your husband, your wife, your adult child, your caregiver. All right. So she got worse and worse and worse. Ended up in pneumonia, and then she ended up, stuck in the apartment for 8 days, 10 days, and she's better because she found that being isolated, she was not getting out of her bathrobe. She wasn't eating right. She was starting to negate with her thinking. My mother's a very positive person. So what was it better? Yesterday morning or Sunday morning, I called her up and I said, I love you, but, and I blasted her like I have never blasted her before. Get up, get in the shower, get dressed, get going, walk the halls, blah, blah, blah.
Good for you.
Well, I was all right. She said, don't yell at me. You never yell at me. I said, I'm yelling at you now. And I said, you better move your tookie or I'm coming home. And then my little sister called and did the same thing. So when I called her last night, she says, well, you blasted me and Sissy blasted me. So she said, yesterday I got up, I got dressed, I put all my jewelry on, and I had nowhere to go. I said, good. All right? The mindset. Go walk the mall. She's 94. God bless her. Okay. The mindset. You will wake up today, you will be your best. You will accept your limitations. You will play the positive note. You will take advantage of all the resources in your life. You will embrace all the love in your life. Okay?